So I finally finished Alien Isolation, and I've actually recorded this intro twice and just sort of ended up rambling. Uh, so I'm trying to focus my thoughts on Alien Isolation and not have a terrible developer diary. But I found it's kind of hard because Alien Isolation is this weird sort of animal, and I think what it tried to be and what it ended up being are kind of different. And so I almost wonder if we should look at it for what it is or look at it for what it's supposed to be. So firstly, I don't think Alien Isolation worked as a horror game for me personally, and obviously that's subjective. But I did find more enjoyment out of the game than I expected, and I did, keep playing it. It was, sometimes felt like a chore, but less so than I would have expected a game of its length, which I think is too long. But I think part of it was that it captures the sort of alien movie vibe not in terms of the horror, but in terms of the aesthetic. And so it was like a fun world to be in. But the actual gameplay wasn't really my thing, and I don't think it succeeded as a horror game. So I enjoyed it, but maybe not for the right reasons, or I guess maybe there's no wrong reason to enjoy a game, but I was let down with the horror aspect. And I talked about this in the previous ones. I don't know, this is my third or fourth Alien Isolation video, and I think there's a lot of meat there to talk about. I probably could record a few more, but I think no one will care. But the thing is, the alien's presence is constant, and I think that hurts the horror. And this is something I was talking with Thomas Grip, of Amnesia and Frictional fame. He played the beginning of Neverending Nightmares, and he's like, you show the enemies too much, you have too many enemies. I think maybe he only played the... I can't remember if he played the Asylum level or if he was just speaking about the Lost Child level. And we did remove one of the enemies from Lost Child, but he felt like, they should be spaced out more. And I'm inclined to agree with him. I think, the imagined horror is always going to win out, and I think you become acclimated, things lose their scariness the more you're exposed to them. And I think this was a huge problem in Alien Isolation, because basically the alien is always around. I mean, there's a few sections where the alien's like on vacation or whatever, is using the restroom or whatever, but for most of it, the alien is always in the spaceship, always next to you. And I think this was a poor design choice, because I imagine, a game where the alien only shows up every once in a while, and then you're sort of off guard. And of course, to catch you off guard, then they would have to make it a little more forgiving, but that's another aspect of the game that could maybe use some improvements. It was pretty frustrating, and like Thomas Grip talked about it on his blog, and you're just basically trying to game the system and go to all the save points and loop back to the save points, which and this is one of the things, and we've talked about this a bunch on the forum with some people, is why do I care so much about immersion? Why do I want to get rid of gamey systems in Neverending Nightmares? And some people feel like it was to the detriment of the product. But I think the game systems take you out of the world. When I look at the crafting menu and I have to craft I don't know, mostly I craft health kits, and then, I have to get random supplies and combine them, and then I think, like, why can I only hold a certain amount of these charge packs? Why can I only hold 3 charge packs? Like, what's wrong with me? Where's this backpack that I'm holding all these things? And those questions are at least for me, and maybe I'm just not as good at suspension of disbelief, those questions are always in the back of my mind. And so the systems like that and the save points always take me out of the game. And so it was very refreshing. In Amnesia, you know, there's a big thing that says, this game uses autosave, don't worry about saving at all. We'll take care of it for you. And I thought that was really great, especially because, you know, Resident Evil sort of pioneered the challenge of saving, the challenge, the risk and reward versus of looping back to an existing point. And certainly in Resident Evil, you're using up the tape, and so it's an interesting from a gameplay system standpoint, but fundamentally I think they're creating horror the wrong way. It's not the game anymore, it's the systems, and that, to me, I'm not as much of a fan of that type of horror. Which isn't to say that it's not good, but it's just not my thing. I think we can do better by creating the horror through the atmosphere and the environment and the characters. And I think Alien Isolation succeeded a bit, but just because the alien was so present and you always knew you were on the lookout for him and he's always banging around, you know, you just see that, you just keep out your motion detector, and then that you know, helps you just fine. And so now I'm going to get into spoiler territory, so if you don't want to know things that happen later in the game, I guess you can stop watching now. But like, there are sections where the motion detector doesn't work, and it's kind of interesting, but because the mechanics are so unforgiving, it just seems cheap. And it's even cheaper because they have face huggers, and they just pop out and they kill you. And like, I tried using a shotgun, and like the shotgun couldn't hit them, you know, until they were already on my face, and then I had to use flamethrower ammo, which was already in short supply. I don't think I really used the shotgun for anything. It was not effective at the robots, and I usually didn't kill people, or I tried not to. And also, I didn't like the whole like multiple alien thing at the end. I felt like that was maybe not the best choice, especially because, like, where are all these facehuggers coming from? I thought you needed a queen to lay the facehuggers, and there was no queen. So, totally wrong. Fiction ruined, destroyed, don't play it, they didn't get the details right. Not. I'm being a little harsh, but yeah, I mean, at least to me, you know, the whole thing was I was getting the authentic alien experience, and so, like, that aspect that didn't reconcile with the regular fiction of the game was disappointing to me personally, that all of a sudden there's all these eggs, no queen, but all these eggs, and then facehuggers everywhere, multiple aliens going after you. But I found by the end of the game, like, I didn't hide anymore. And I didn't really, like, run away from the aliens. I would just, you know, I mean, I was playing on easy, so it's probably easy, obviously easier, but, you know, I would just sort of crouch and just let them walk by. And I think that's a fail when the enemies, you know, when you basically figure out the way around the systems and basically keep yourself sort of out of view, and the alien won't detect you. But basically, they weren't a threat anymore. They were more of a nuisance. And I think that was part of the problem with the really long length of the game and the frequent encounters, is basically you figure out how it works. You figure out the movement of the aliens. You figure out everything. And so you know that you're not in trouble, that there's not really a risk. And so I think that had been slowly destroyed over time, and I think that was not the best choice. And also, I thought, at least in people talking about the game earlier, there was you know, I thought maybe that the robots and the people and the alien encounters would combine in interesting ways, but at least I didn't feel like they did. The alien doesn't attack the robots at all, which is kind of annoying because the robots are super annoying to kill, especially like the ones that wear the raincoats. Then they suck even worse. So the robots were super annoying and not scary, and the people were interesting, although none of them were friendly, even though there was like a little message that said some of them might be friendly. I didn't find any except for the ones in your little home base area. And you know, usually I would just wait around for the alien to kill them. I didn't really use the noisemaker or any of that stuff. I just sort of let the alien kill them and then move on, or, you know, just avoid everyone. So I mean, I don't know. You know, I loved being in the world, and I think that they match the aesthetic really well, but as a horror game, it didn't really work, and at the end of the game, I was just playing it more like a stealth game. And I mean, you know, it was an okay stealth game, but it wasn't, like, super interesting. I think The Last of Us did stealth much better, and even I had issues with that.